All right, let me do the YouTube introduction. So, hey, good morning and welcome back to Jaxx Vane Studio Live, number 40. So we're back after a big break, a little bit because of the hot summer in the Netherlands. My house is really not designed for summer, and this is going to be the last summer that I get caught in this hot weather without an air conditioning. I definitely, next year I'm gonna be ready. I have to find a way to install a decent aircon here, because in summer it becomes impossible. And then with summer, a little bit of laziness, a little bit of down time. I think everybody is getting bored of this coronavirus and not be able to do anything. We really don't want to risk traveling around, so yeah, laziness got the best of me. But finally we're back. Today is going to be quite a light stream, because I need to relearn. I need to relearn how everything works. I tried to write a little bit of code yesterday, and it was like all gone. All my Rust knowledge was like, how you do this? Hey, Jaxx Vane, welcome back, and thanks you for the subscription. So yeah, at the end of the day, what happened was that I lost a good month of development for the game, which sucks. But it is what it is. It is what it is. So the hope is to come back on it as hard as possible. Also, you might notice we have this new setup, so you can see Jaxx there on guitar. No, it's not. It's not on guitar. Jaxx there working on Maya and a new boat that we're going to work on. And my hope is still to be able to get some kind of demo released by the end of this year. After losing 1 month, we will see if my hope remains a hope, or it's actually something that can happen. So we will see. Right now, I'm still struggling with some decision to take regarding artificial intelligence, because I have two possible scenarios in front of me. And one is a scenario where I do work on artificial intelligence and add artificial intelligence to this game. Of course, it's quite a big task, not only to add but then to maintain. But obviously, it will open up the game to a lot more people. And more possibility. It's also very useful for me to have artificial intelligence when I'm working on multiplayer, because if I don't have artificial intelligence, I will be forced to have somebody to help me when I'm trying something in multiplayer. Now, that somebody could be Jaxx over there, of course, but yeah, having the possibility to have another computer running with the AI and then connect to a server and then be able to test against that computer running the AI, will be a huge advantage for my multiplayer testing. So multiplayer also will benefit from having something like that. Hey Remco, welcome back. yeah, I'm alive. So that's the decision. Of course, it's a lot of work. On the other side, the aspect that really interests me more about this game is really more the multiplayer side. I see it much more as a multiplayer game than an artificial intelligence game. Also, coming from the experience in Assetto Corsa, I know how difficult can be to have the artificial intelligence being aware of all the details of the physics simulation. So every time you try to push the physics simulation, I also have to start thinking, okay, if I had, let's say that I had this very cool system to trim sails and so on, I will have also to think, okay, I will also need the artificial intelligence to be able to understand and work on this. So everything I do, it gets multiplied by at least 2 when the artificial intelligence is in. While if the game is multiplayer only, I can go as crazy as I can on the physics, and I don't care. I don't care about, okay, will the artificial intelligence be able to handle this or no? So I have this thing. I've been thinking about this thing for about 1 month. My current solution to the problem is I'm going to try in the next couple of weeks to work on artificial intelligence, see how it's proceeding, and see where I am after 2 weeks, and then make a final decision. And okay, is this thing in or is this thing out? At least with regard with the demo version that I would like to release by the end of the year. Of course, the demo version is going to be super raw. One thing that this game will absolutely need is some kind of tutorial scenarios where the game is driving you through understanding the various functionality of foils and sail, what they do. I don't want to assume that all the people playing this game have an understanding about sailing boat, because that will reduce the audience a lot. But it's obvious that if I do release the demo, will not have tutorials, so it's going to be brutally hard. And but yeah, okay, it's going to be a free demo, so I hope to get interest moving for the game, and we'll see where we go. Hey, Manhunter, welcome. So that's the idea. Something else interesting that you could be interesting is that these days, especially on Tuesday and Thursday, I'm also going to do some work on the artificial intelligence of Assetto Corsa Competizione, believe it or not. So the story is that I was looking around the general reactions on the forums these days, and it looks like a lot of people are not happy with the behavior of the artificial intelligence races in Assetto Corsa Competizione, especially regarding how the artificial intelligence cars behave among themselves. So the races tend to be quite static, especially when it comes to tracks like Hungaroring or Zolder. And this sort of connects to to what I was saying before about the adding physics detail impacting artificial intelligence development. Like one of the main hit that happened in Assetto Corsa Competizione was when Aris and Fernando implemented a very new cool system for the aerodynamic drafting, where you have a more like a realistic NASCAR type of drag reduction, where the car in front is also getting less drag, not only the car at the back. So the slipstream is not just helping the car at the back, but also the car in front. And this is awesome, this is fantastic, but it made it really difficult for the AI to overtake, because the algorithm in Assetto Corsa is really based on the concept of try to come out from a corner faster, get a slipstream, get faster, and overtake pretty much, at least try to get at the same level engagement on a straight, and then try to brake as hard as possible. And now that new cool physics system made it much harder for the AI to do this. So I'm going to do some experimental work. I have no idea, if I'm going to be able to find a solution to it or not, but it could be interesting to watch, and it's going to be something that I'm going to do live on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So that's the plan in general for the game. Jaxx, what are you doing? What are you doing in your life?
Playing guitar.
Okay. How about on the game?
Right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing the new boat, the AC-75.
Can we say AC-75?
I don't know, can we?
Let me see the blueprint. Do you have a blueprint?
Oh my god, it's got the thing. Are we allowed? It's got
We're gonna
the
risk it.
name.
We're gonna risk it. Hopefully we don't go to jail. I will send you first if you
No.
go to jail. So that's your plan? That's what you're going to do?
Yeah.
How long is it going to take?
I don't know.
What do you think? Guess.
With unwrapping, with modeling, with texturing, all these things. I think maybe 3 weeks or 1 month.
Right.
Yeah.
So hopefully at the end of the month
Yeah.
we have this boat.
I hope so.
Cool. All right. Okay. So that's the story so far. Today is going to be, as I said, probably a short stream, because I need to help my brain coming back to it. So my plan is to work on, try to get into a direction where we have wind situations. Right now we have wind. The wind is completely static, so it's always coming from the same direction, and it's always coming at the same speed. So one thing that we want to do is to have bubbles or wind that are changing intensity and also slightly changing direction. And this is also something that is going to add interest in the way you sail the boat, because the more irregular the wind is, especially with things like the catamaran, any foiling boat, you will have to deal with the wind changing direction and changing strength, and so you will have to react to it. Of course, I haven't tried it, so I have really no idea how much of an impact this will make to the driving, but let's proceed and try to do it. So the first thing that I'm trying to do, because I started to notice that I'm using this all over the place, is this concept of heading. So you express the direction, either the direction that you're going with your boat or the direction of the wind or whatever, with a scalar number of degrees, from 0 to 359. And I have this back and forth in the code constantly between trying to get that number, but also needing the vector representation, so as a normalized 3D or 2D vector. So what I'm doing is having this heading data type, which internally is just the heading, but then it allows me to transform it to vectors, if I want, create it from vectors, also create it from, like in this case, like position and target. So I can say, so for example, imagine a situation where I am trying to work with the AI and say, okay, this is the position of my boat, and this is where I want to go, and this will give me this sort of heading and say, okay, so the heading for where you want to go is 273, whatever. Will you integrate the wind into a broader weather system? Example, air pressure changes do time of the day affecting the wind direction? Yeah, I mean, the point of having a wind data type is that you can start super simple, because you have the code that is basically, the code is going to say, okay, give me the wind at this point, right? So to start with, the important part is that the code is all using that particular function. Now, behind that function, there is literally a world of possible complications that can be had. And one complication is attaching to, as you were saying, time of the day. Because consider this game is really targeted to foiling races, and foiling races are you get it, sweetie?
Yeah.
Foiling races are generally pretty short. It's, I think, 15-20 minutes maximum. So it's not a sailing game that will have, like, you know, full time of the day or things like that. So it's just the scope is very narrow. But I can already imagine a situation where, once the entire physics is relying on this concept of, okay, give me the wind at this position, then literally anything could be plugged into it, from, you know, influence of the coastline, on the coastline, on the wind, for example, right? So so you can have wind changing direction in particular parts of the race course because of the coastline. These are also races that are generally held pretty close to the coastline. Again, is one advantage of foiling boats that don't require as much. They can race in waters that are way more shallow than traditional sailing boats. So, and this is cool because the scenery is more interesting because you are closer to the coastline. But that also means that the influence of the coastline on the wind is strong. So will be interesting to have a situation where a location might have a particular wind change direction happening in some part of the race course because of the coastline, and as a racer, that's an information that is part of your experience. So if you know that place and that particular location where the race is, and you can take advantage of the knowledge. Oh, if I go that side, what is it?
Post.
The straps?
No, just something for the printer.
All right.
That I bought.
Right. So yeah, so it's a huge amount of possibilities around having it that way. Okay, a wind for a boat ahead of you can be perceived from your own boat. That's essential. That's an essential part of sailing. So yes, absolutely, and yeah, totally. It's absolutely necessary. It's such a huge part of racing, especially, well, when it comes, to be honest, from what I see happening in races like the catamaran, the foiling catamarans, the impression is that the tactical aspect is a little bit less than the actual driving the thing, right? So this is totally my impression. I don't really have any confirmation from people into this kind of racing that this is actually the case. But from what I see, it looks like the boats are more concentrated on, okay, let's try to go as fast as possible regardless of what is happening around us, right? And because because driving the boat fast is so, it takes so much effort, right? It's like most of their attention seems to be there. So the tactical aspect of blocking the wind and things like that, it looks to me like it's less essential than for traditional sailboats, where it's a bigger part of the racing. I was also watching like the America's Cup in Bermuda, and it's interesting to see like what you usually see happening in traditional races doesn't really happen there that much. Like, for example, you see sometimes splits happening. Splits is when the boats go to two completely different sides of the race course, right? And usually in America's Cup, when you're running in match race, which is 1 against 1, so you're not in a group of boat, usually what is happening is that the boat that is leading is usually following what the boat that is behind doing. So if the boat that is behind is going in one direction, the leading boat tends to sort of follow it, because the logic is that as long you are in the same conditions of wind, you will make comparable speeds, right? There are less possibilities on a traditional sailboat to fuck up completely. Okay, you can have a spinnaker exploding or things like that, but it's not like a foiling boat where you can, every time you change direction, you might fuck up the maneuver and get into the water and lose a lot of speed, right? So usually they try to stay in their course, and they just bounce around the course boundaries. So they reach the boundary and then they turn. So they limit the amount of turns that they will do, to limit the danger of dropping the boat into the water. So that's going to be interesting. Yeah. But yeah, it's absolutely essential to have that part of the. Yeah, it's a little bit like the opposite of racing cars, no? It's like racing cars, you want to be, unless you are in a corner, but that becomes complicated. But in race cars, you want to be in the slipstream, in the dirty air, if you want, of the car in front of you, at least on the straight. In a sailboat, you definitely don't want that. You want to avoid that as much as possible. And the boat that has the possibility to cover the other boat will usually try to do it. Why I'm recalculating apparent wind again? Apparent wind 3D. All right, fair enough.
It's gonna collapse.
Again, we got this minus velocity. I think this minus stuff, because
big, right? Hmm? You don't fit on my desk anymore.
Let me code it clean, but I have a feeling that this thing needs that minus because I'm using it everywhere. Okay. So I lost a lot of speed. I went back basically to having a working game with this new data type. As I said, it was going to be a pretty relaxing stream. So just to ease into it for today, getting used again to have a webcam in my face. Love, you want to say goodbye?
Goodbye, Jax.
Jax says goodbye.
Leaving.
Let's see the boat. Where are you? Let me see the boat. You're doing the foils first.
Yeah. No, I'm just doing the basic shapes of all the the foils and the body and this.
You also did the sail?
Yeah.
Cool. It's difficult to see because it's transparent.
Yeah, just not details yet.
Right. Right. Okay. I think this is all for me, guys, today. Tomorrow, don't forget, if you are interested in Assetto Corsa Competizione, I'll be streaming some work on Assetto Corsa Competizione artificial intelligence. So a definite change compared to my usual stream. So it's going to be C++, Unreal Engine things. It's going to be funny because I haven't been touching C++ and Assetto Corsa Competizione since April. So it's going to be interesting to see how I react to go back to the cumbersome ways of Unreal Engine. So I will see you tomorrow for the Assetto Corsa stream, and I will see you with Jaxx again on Wednesday morning for the sailing game. Thank you very much, guys, for watching, and see you next time.
Bye
Ciao,
bye.
ciao.
Thank you.